Hey everybody, it's Wednesday here in Cypress, Texas. So I'm reading Matthew 24, and this is the Mount of Olives story, right? And this is where all the rapture, well, not all of it. This is the beginning. This is the first time Christ says anything. When it gets misinterpreted, people turn into the rapture. Okay. And so what he's talking about, it's not somebody gets all of a sudden transported up into the stars, right? Like Star Trek, right? It's when they come to the understanding, right, of his word. Okay. So here I am. I've read the whole Bible 16 times, cover to cover. And then I started learning about the symbolism and the Paleo Hebrew. And I couldn't read the New Testament. I couldn't read Matthew until I learned enough of it to understand what he's really saying. Okay, so what he's saying is, this is what's going to happen. There's going to be, when people, one guy's going to understand it and one guy's not, right? And, somebody's going to be in the field working it. Some guys are going to understand and some aren't, right? And it is because, oh man. So here's what you got. The whole temple process is about the learning of beginning to understand the word. Okay. And so what you got mostly going on right now in most churches is what you would call the outer court. Okay. And that pastor is the priest that's running the altar sacrifice. Okay. And most people never go into the temple. Okay. They never get past the altar sacrifice, and only the guy up there preaching gets to the brazen laver part where he cleaned himself up and looks at his own reflection, checks himself out before he goes into the temple, right? And then you get deeper learning, okay, in the temple. And they call for it. This guy last Sunday, even though he didn't read anything from the scriptures, he's calling for people to become more involved in the church, right? But he's still kind of missing it. There's got to be these different levels of teaching. So what do I mean by that? Okay, well, in the holy place, going into the temple behind the first veil, you got the table of showbread, which is more Bible reading. The 66, six rows or 6 loaves of bread represent the 66 books of the Bible, which wasn't even written back then, but supposedly that's what it represents. But it represents deeper understanding of the word. The bread and water are the basics of Bible reading, okay, basic understanding, the letter, okay, all right, and that's where most people stay, okay. Then there's the altar of incense. Now this is where you're supposed to be praying and praise and worship. But really, what that's supposed to mean is you get the experienced teachers share their knowledge with the ones that are the new ones learning, right? Very much reminds me of mission planning and the SEAL teams, sharing SOPs and all this stuff, right? And the intricate aspects of being an operator, same thing with being the learning of the word. Okay, then there's the menorah. Okay, and that's where you get one-on-one mentorship from a subject matter expert or the high priest. Okay, and then the behind the second veil, you got another brazen labor. Clean yourself up some more, okay, making sure you're worthy to be in that place. Then there's the Ark of the Covenant, which in the Ark of the Covenant is the staff of authority. And then there's the manna, with more of the basic teaching, right? And then there's the tablets, okay, the broken tablets, which, hey, guess what, is the interpretation when you interpret it using the Paleo Hebrew. Okay, whenever you do that, you'll understand what I'm talking about. All right, and then there's the other menorah. Okay, this is when the high priest, who gets to that point, is turning around, looking into the temple, and he's basically orchestrating the temple process, making sure everybody, all the other priests at all the different stations, running them stations, know what they're doing and doing it right. That's what I'm talking about. All right. Now you know a little more.